So what's this about a trip to New Mexico?
Oh, yes. Well, Leslie and Simone invited Katie and me to the reservation. I thought it'd be fun. You know, I've never been to that part of the country before.
Have you really thought this through, Mama?
What do you mean?
Well, you've got some time off. Don't you think you ought to spend it with Cal?
No, he's going to be all wrapped up in that court case of his.
Yeah. And then the meeting with the tribal elders next week.
Right.
So you're going off to visit the very people that are going against him in court. I mean, I don't want to say what's right or wrong here, but Cal's going to see that as you taking sides.
I like Simone. She's a good friend. I'd like to learn more about her people. Doesn't have anything to do with the case.
All right. But you are putting Cal on the spot. He's going to feel betrayed.
Maybe I should just go back to work. Hey!
How are you?
Okay, Margot sends her best. I think she's holding up pretty well.
You must be very proud of her for sticking with this case.
Yeah, I am. You know, it was so generous of your grandmother to give me this necklace. It's really beautiful.
Oh, it's just her way of thanking you for making a home for me in Oakdale.
Well, it's exquisite.
The Navajo are known for their silver work.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm preparing a smudge stick. Smudging is something we do where we take sacred plants such as sage and cedar, and we burn them, and then we use the smoke to purify our minds and our hearts and our bodies. And it will prepare us to be positive for tomorrow's meeting. Take away all the bad feelings and bad thoughts.
I like your traditions. I'd like to learn more about them while I'm here.
Oh, see what it is. Well, Cal, yatte!
Hello, Simone.
Come in.
Katie, dear. Hi, darling. How are you? Hello, Leslie.
Hello, Cal.
That, Bobby. Get that. There.
Well, what a surprise.
Well, as soon as I got your message, I jumped in my jet and decided to come up a day early. Josh and one of the lawyers from the company will be up tomorrow.
You will join us for dinner, won't you, Cal?
Oh, no, I don't want to impose.
It's no imposition. Just because we're on separate sides of the sacred land issue doesn't mean you're not welcomed as my guest.
Katie and I would like you to stay.
Well, in that case, if you're sure there wouldn't be any extra trouble. What have you got here? Look at that.
Simone's grandma gave that to her. And look, she gave me this beautiful necklace. It's from the tribal college.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
Cal, Simone and I are smudging. Smudging is a sacred act of cleansing one's negativity. Would you like to join us? I'm going to make some fresh coffee. Would anybody like some?
Yes, I would.
No, none for me, thank you.
I'd love some.
Great.
As soon as I get Katie all settled.
Oh, why don't you let me put her to bed? Hey, how would you like to hear a coyote story before you go to sleep?
Oh,
Would you
more
like to?
coyote stories. You like that? Okay. I'll come in and I'll tuck you in later, okay?
Good night, Katie.
Good night, Cal.
Good night.
Simone's grandmother was telling me all the coyote stories. You know, that's the way they teach, storytelling, and they teach the children their traditions and their history.
Yeah, I know a little bit about this from some of the Navajo who work for Strico. Listen, why didn't you tell me you were going to be here?
Well, I tried to call you this morning, but you weren't at the ranch.
No, I
You
mean,
weren't at the office.
when you made the decision, why didn't you let me know? I mean, just keep me up with your plans.
Well, I didn't know if Mrs. Atwater was going to give me the time off, so What?
Well, I'm just a little disappointed that you asked Mrs. Atwater for time off and then you didn't tell me about it and didn't plan to spend any of the time with me.
Is that the real reason? Or does it bother you that I'm spending time with the people who oppose you drilling oil on the sacred side?
Cal and I have tried to explain to you that I've offered at considerable expense to use slant drilling, which would preserve their...
Drilling.
All right. Yeah. I am a little disappointed that you seem to be aligning yourself with the very people I'm going to be fighting in court.
Well, maybe you won't have to go to court. If you go to this meeting tomorrow with the tribal elders with an open mind. You know, Leslie's invited me to the meeting.
You're not going to go, are you?
Well, why not? Simone's going.
Well, of course, Simone... I didn't think they would allow any visitors.
Why does it bother you so much that I'm going to the meeting?
Listen, darling, you know, I'd like to talk to you more about this, but I don't really want to do it here. Why don't you come back to the hotel with me? Then we can talk this whole thing out.
Cal, I can't go to the hotel. I can't leave here. It would be so rude.
Well, then I reckon there's not much more we can say tonight, is there? All right. Tell Katie good night, will you?
Yeah.
And, appreciate it if you thank Simone and Leslie for the dinner.
Cal, Josh,
Good
hi.
morning.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Good.
Lila. Hi.
Hi. Oh.
Where's that gorgeous little girl of yours?
Well, she's trying to eat everything that's not nailed down in the kitchen. Did you just come in from Waco this
I
morning?
sure did. I flew in with Mark Ramsey, Kel's lawyer. And he's over at the hotel getting ready for the big meeting.
Well, can I get you two some coffee or something?
No, thanks.
I would love some, and I'll give you a hand.
Oh, thanks. It's right around
Say
the
hi to
left.
Katie, too. Oh, by the way, Meg sends her best.
Ah, good.
Well, maybe I ought to get Josh to send you my best. I seem to be a pretty inefficient spokesman for myself these days.
Well, that's not true.
I don't know. I was kind of lonely on that big hotel bed last night, especially thinking of you on this itty-bitty couch.
Cal, I thought I made it clear that the purpose of my trip to New Mexico is to visit Simone and Leslie.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they appreciated your gesture, taking time off work, I mean, especially with Margot's trial coming up. Listen, I asked Buzz to stand by at the airport so that he can fly you and Katie back to Oakdale this morning. And Simone, too, of course. I just figured that you'd want to be there for Margot.
I do, and I will be there for Margot. I just don't want you to use my concern for Margot and the lure of the use of the private jet and all that jazz just to get me out of the way.
Well, now, wait a minute. What is this all of a sudden questioning my motives?
I thought I made it clear to you last night. I want to go to this meeting with the tribal elders, you know, and you're making it perfectly clear you don't want me to go.
That's because I don't understand why you're so dead set on being there. I mean, it's not as though there's going to be something momentous accomplished.
Certainly not with your attitude.
Oh, no. Hold on. I'm here, aren't I? I'm prepared to listen.
How
what more do you want?
Can you listen with such a closed mind, Cal?
Okay, I'll tell Buzz just to cool his heels. But the offer still goes. He's standing by. He's ready to fly you and Katie and Simone back to Oakdale whenever you want to go. My motive was to ensure your safety and comfort. That's all.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that you have a closed mind. Maybe I'm guilty of the same thing, eh?
Maybe it just goes to show that we're both human, eh? Oh, darling, I'll work on listening with an open mind.
Me too.
Okay.
Uh-oh. We're talking a new world record 5. I said 5 pancakes.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me have this.
Here we go.
Oh, my God. Oh, 4 pancakes. Oh.
Cal and I were just talking, and I think I've made a decision. I'm definitely going to that meeting.
I'll tell you, those 3 don't look filled with the spirit of compromise to me. Lila accuses me of having a closed mind. You know, I'm all for upholding tradition. I mean, Navajo trying to have both ways. You know, they hit the light switch. They expect the light to come on just like we do. Where do they think that light comes from? It comes from oil. And it was Mother Earth that put the oil in the ground in the first place. I don't see what's wrong with using the bounty of the earth to make people's lives better, do
Why
you?
don't you just settle down a little bit, huh? Oh,
All right.
start off right.
Yeah, forget it.
Would you please?
Nice. Well, Cal looks like he just swallowed a bear. Well, at least he came to listen. Oh, Simone. I'm just so afraid that he's never going to understand what this land means to these people. What it means to desecrate it, a place of worship. All he knows is that somehow somebody sold him a piece of land and he's going to do whatever he wants to it. Property rights versus human rights. I'm so afraid that to Cal, property rights are as sacred as anything else. Oh, there's Leslie. Readings should start.
Perhaps we should begin by introducing ourselves. I'm Leslie Bordeaux.
Walt Benet.
Jane Whitehorse.
Bill Yazzie.
Josh Strickland.
Mark Ramsey, head counsel, Strickle Oil.
Cal Strickland.
Thank you all for coming. We'd like to start this meeting with a prayer.
O Great Spirit, whose voice we hear in the winds of the port direction, hear us. Make us wise. Fill us with your light. Give us the wisdom to understand, the eyes to see. Lead us to walk the soft earth as brothers to all that lives. May we happily talk. Make it beautiful before us, beautiful below us, beautiful above us, beautiful around us, beautiful all around us. In beauty, it is finished. In beauty, it is finished. In beauty, it is finished. In beauty, it is finished.
Mr. Strickland, we appreciate this opportunity to meet with you and speak openly and frankly about our situation, which is of such great concern to all of us. The land in question has been sacred to our people since the beginning of our history. By the laws of this country, you own the land. But we believe no one can own any part of the sacred trust. It belongs to everyone. We understand that there's a conflict here. We beg you to open your hearts and to hear our plea and to understand what this land means to the Navajo Nation and to stop desecrating our land any further by drilling for oil.
I would like something clarified. Exactly what portion of the tract in question do you consider sacred and why?
Yes, I know there's been some confusion about that. You are aware of the historical sacred site, a shrine built stone by stone for over many generations, a place of pilgrimage. You have said you would not directly violate that sacred site.
Well, that's right, and I've also offered to put aside several hundred acres surrounding
But to our people, all the gifts from our Mother, the Earth, are blessed and sacred. We consider the land in question a sacred trust.
Well, yes, but you're talking about several thousand acres.
As a matter of fact, we're talking about the entire Earth and everything above it and below it. But for the purposes of this discussion, yes, we are talking about a large portion of land which you purchased. And any drilling, even slant drilling, would be a risk to the ecosystem of this desert country and a violation of our sacred trust.
Well, I have to say that Strickco has an excellent environmental record.
Yes, but even with the most stringent of precautions, there is always the danger of a leak, which would be disastrous to our water table. Our ranchers and farmers depend on that water for their livelihoods.
Well, now we're not talking about environmental or spiritual concerns, are we? We're talking economics. What if I offered to post a bond?
You're talking about reparations after the fact. We're concerned with preserving our land and its resources. But in this case, this piece of land is sacred. We worship there. We see God.
Well, I understand that you have obligations to your people, but I have obligations to mine. And we are talking jobs here, a considerable number of jobs. And you're all aware that we're in the middle of a recession.
I've researched this. The type of operation you are proposing would employ a few hundred people. We're 500,000 Navajo. If you don't voluntarily agree to respect our sacred places, we have no recourse but to appeal to the First Amendment and our right to freedom of religion. You give me no choice but to go to court and prove our rights there. We have reason to believe you're an honorable man, Mr. Strickland. An honorable man does not trespass against the beliefs of others. Now perhaps maybe you have a better understanding of our beliefs. You will honor them.
Miss Bordeaux, Mr. Strickland has just made an extremely generous offer. He will not only guarantee the sanctity of your several hundred acres surrounding your shrine, he will also guarantee that any damage that results in the economic hardship to your people will be compensated by Strickle Oil. And he is willing to grant the Navajo Nation 3% of all profits from the sale of oil off this land. You appreciate he is under no legal obligation whatsoever to make this offer.
Mr. Ramsey. Mr. Strickland's offer is indeed generous. But even if he were to offer 10 times as much, we would have to refuse it.
Well, now, damn it all, I own this land. Now, you want to spend years wrangling over this in the courts? And then have a terrible legal bill when you lose in the end? Because all the precedent is on my side. Why can't we reach some kind of a compromise now?
We cannot compromise our beliefs. The land is sacred. And there is new legislation being passed every day to protect sacred sites.
Well, so what is this? Some kind of a stalling tactic waiting for new legislation? Because I warn you, when I get my dander up, I can outweigh anybody, particularly when I know I'm in the right.
The power of right is on our side, Mr. Strickland. You're fighting for your profit. We're fighting for our religious freedom. We're fighting for our mother, the earth.
Well, I hope your mother, the earth, has got some deep pockets, because she's going to be in for a hell of a legal bill when you lose this case. I've said all I've got to say.
You heard me make a more than generous offer to the Navajo elders.
And when they rejected it, you couldn't handle that. So you just stormed out of the room. I really didn't want to get into this right now. I really didn't. But since you brought it up, you know, I was really amazed. The way that you were able to go into the hospital today and pretend that everything was fine, that everything was all right between us. What happened in New Mexico, Cal, it opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And I really had to do a lot of thinking about us, and I was hoping that you had done the same.
Well, I have, darling, but I didn't want to come back here and act like there was some great big black cloud hanging over
Cal,
us.
can't you see that there is? We have a serious problem here. if we can't find a way to work it out, I don't know if we'll have a future together.
I think you're blowing this out of proportion. Of course two people are going to have differences. You got to expect that. But hell's bells, woman, we love each other, and that's going to get us through. You tell me that you stop loving me?
No. That's why this isn't very easy for me. What happened in New Mexico changed everything for me. First, your lack of willingness to compromise with the Navajo elders.
Hey, now, that is just not fair. Now, I offered to compromise in every way I could figure.
I'm sure that you think that you did. But the bottom line is, all you want is to win. That's all that's important to you, is winning. That's who you are. And it's never going to change. And that's why I had to give this back.
I'm not going to take it. So you can just put it back on your finger where it belongs.
Please, Cal, don't make this any harder.
Are you trying to tell me that you're not going to marry me because you disagree with a business decision?
This isn't about business, and you know it. It's about people.
Yeah, but it's about people on both sides. I have people who depend on me. I'm responsible for them. They've got mouths to feed, and some of them are Native Americans, in case you've forgotten. I told the Navajo elders that I would slant drill to preserve their sacred lands. I offered them 3% of my profits. You heard me.
Cal, you still don't get it, do you? It's not about money. They're not fighting about money. They're not fighting for a piece of the action. They're fighting for their way of life. But you can't, or you won't try to understand that point of view, because all you care about is winning. That's all that's important to you, is about winning.
Oh, darling, of course I want to win. The hell you think business is all about? If you're not a winner, you're a loser. And if you think it's any other way, well, I'm afraid you're just naive.
Life isn't just about winning or losing. And if you think that that's being naive, then it just proves how different we are. How different our values are.
Well, no, so what do you accuse me of having no values and saying I don't give a damn about people?
No. I know better than anybody how kind and generous you can be. Just as long as it doesn't get in the way of what you want. What you need is a woman who sees things the way you see them. That wants what
I don't
you
want another woman.
Cal, I'm trying to be honest with you. When we were down in New Mexico, I saw a side in you that just scares me. So why don't we just admit it? It's not gonna work out. And we'll just end it while we still love each other, while we still can be friends. Let's just walk away as friends, okay?
Colin, there has got to be some way that we can work this out. There has to be some...
Look, I can't think about anything but all the trouble that I've caused you and Cal.
Oh, Simone. Come on, listen to me. 'Cause this is the last time I'm going to say it. My problems with Cal, you know, it's not your fault.
Yeah, but if I wouldn't have rented that room, Lila, and moved in, none of this would have happened. I mean, you've never gotten involved with Cal's business deals before.
Well, it's true. But maybe if I had, this thing would have come to a head a lot sooner. No, listen. I don't want you to feel guilty about anything. Even the whole situation with the Navajo, it runs deeper than that. Cal and I, we just can't share the same things in life, that's all.
I was already worried about you.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Mom, this is Monica. I asked her to come in out of the storm to have dinner with us.
Welcome, Monica. My name is Annie.
Hi, how do you do? It's so nice to be in such a warm place like this.
Oh, your blouse got torn. Here. Wrap up in this, and then I can mend it.
No, you don't have to do that.
Oh, but I'd like to.
Okay. Okay. Your son has been so nice to me, Mrs. Spotted Eagle.
Annie, please.
I hope I'm not intruding.
Of course you're not. Would you like something warm to drink?
Sure.
I'm gonna go change. Maybe I can find something dry. I'll fit Monica until her things dry.
Here you are. Thank you. I feel better already.
Good.
I guess you're wondering, why I was out all alone on a night like this.
Well, I'm sure you had your reason. But they're your own reasons to share only if you wish. Right now, the important thing is for you to get warm and to feel welcome in our home. Would you like some more stew?
No, thanks. I'm stuffed. I've never had anything like this before in my life.
Well, this is our fried bread, and this is our washape. That's a sweet syrup that we make from blueberries.
And this is stewed rabbit.
Rabbit? It's just like chicken. What are you doing?
Well, we always set aside a small portion of everything we eat each day. And we say a prayer to give honor to the animal's spirit that gave us our food.
And also to the spirits of our family who's passed away.
Oh, well, let me put something in it, too.
Thank you. Keith, why don't you get the water from the well so I can wash the dishes?
Okay.
Can I help?
No,
Please?
of course not. You're our guest.
Oh, these carvings are beautiful. May I hold them?
Of course.
Who made these, Keith?
No, his father. He passed away almost a year ago.
I'm sorry.
Well, Keith is the man of the family now. He works in the cattle ranch west of here and sometimes in the rodeo.
Rodeo? I know somebody who grew up in a rodeo back home.
Did he carve that special cap for you?
No. That was somebody else.
Do these special people know where you are? Then they must be very worried. Stop raining. I guess it's going to start clearing.
Thank you so much for fixing my blouse.
Oh, you're more than welcome. But now, your shoes got ruined. So I'd like you to try these on. I think they might fit.
Wow. Huh. The beadwork on these are beautiful. Did you make these?
Of course.
It's amazing.
I've been doing it since I was a child.
I don't know how to thank you two for all you've done for me.
Well, you needed our help, so we helped. Kindness repays kindness.
You have so much
for having so little.
Well, I grew up with every luxury you could imagine. And it just doesn't compare to all the love and the warmth in this house. It reminds me of,
Come on. It's late. Why don't you get your rest?
Monica, you plan on leaving here in the morning?
Yes. And I have a confession to make. My name is Lily, not Monica.
Well, that's a lovely name. Lily, I can see that there's a great struggle going on inside of you. But that's where you have to look for the answers. Those problems are not going to leave until you find that hidden power in there to help. They're like a shadow. They're rooted to your soul. And they'll always follow you. I know that you have a family. And I'll encourage you to go back to them. But for now, I want you to know that you're welcome here until whenever you want to leave. Okay?
Thank you. But I don't have a family. All I I'm doing right now is running from a bunch of lies and secrets, and I don't want anybody to find me until I find myself. Now, I know that doesn't make any sense.
Of course it makes sense. Come on, things will be better in the morning, I promise. And I wish you the best of dreams.
You too.